I'm Anita. The conference room was in chaos. Phones were ringing off the hook, board members were shouting, and my sister, Isabella, looked like she'd seen a ghost. It was a far cry from the confident, condescending woman who'd practically owned the room just an hour ago. My family has always been a study in contrasts. My father, Henry, is a self-made man who built his fortune in real estate. He's always been a big believer in hard work and entrepreneurship. Isabella, my older sister by 5 years, inherited his drive and ambition. She's the golden child, the one who can do no wrong in my father's eyes. Then there's me. I've always been the quiet one, the one who preferred to work behind the scenes. Isabella founded her tech startup, Nova Tech Solutions, 8 years ago. It was a revolutionary idea in the enterprise software space, and she quickly caught the attention of investors. I remember the family dinner when she first pitched the idea. Her eyes were alight with passion, and my father was beaming with pride. I knew right then that she had something special. Over the next few years, Isabella worked tirelessly to build her company. She secured funding, assembled a top-notch team, and developed a cutting-edge product. The company grew rapidly, and soon, it was on the verge of a major Series C funding round. I'd been sitting in on these quarterly board meetings for the past 4 years. I'd always positioned myself in the back corner, a silent observer. Isabella and my father never took me seriously. They saw me as the one who worked at a small non-profit, living in a modest apartment in the suburbs, driving an old car. They thought I couldn't understand the complex world of high-stakes business. Today's board meeting started like any other. Isabella stood at the head of the table, clad in a designer suit that probably cost more than my annual salary at the nonprofit. "Before we begin," she said, her voice dripping with arrogance, "we're discussing serious expansion opportunities today. These are multi-million-dollar decisions. Not everyone here will understand." Her eyes landed on me, filled with pity and condescension. My father, sitting next to her, nodded in agreement. "Your sister's right, Anita. These meetings can be quite technical. Maybe you'd be more comfortable waiting in the lobby." I smiled politely, the same smile I'd perfected over the years of being overlooked. "I'm fine here, Dad. I'd like to observe." Isabella laughed. "Observe? That's sweet, but we're about to discuss our Series C funding round. We're talking about valuations in excess of $200 million. The financial complexity alone." I opened my notepad and said quietly, "I understand. Please continue." My brother-in-law Ethan, who'd married Isabella 3 years ago and became the company's COO despite having no real operational experience, leaned forward. "Anita, no offense, but do you even know what a Series C funding round is?" "I have a general idea," I replied. "A general idea?" Ethan exchanged glances with Isabella. "This is exactly what we were worried about. Isabella, maybe we should limit attendance to those who actually contribute financially." Isabella tapped her pen on the table. "Ethan has a point. Anita, I love you, but let's be honest. You work at that little nonprofit, you live a simple life. This is a different world, one that requires serious capital and understanding." I said, "I'm committed." My father interjected, "Committed how? You make $45,000 a year at that charity." Isabella's company is valued at $16 million and is about to enter negotiations that could push it past $200 million. These are numbers you can't even conceptualize. I said softly, "I conceptualize them fine." Isabella leaned back, arms crossed. "Okay, pop quiz. What's our current burn rate?" $860,000 per month, I answered. "Down from $1,200,000 last quarter after you optimized the cloud infrastructure costs." Isabella's eyebrows rose. "Lucky guess. What about our customer acquisition cost?" $142 per enterprise client, which gives you a customer lifetime value ratio of approximately 8 to 1, above industry standard. The room went silent. Ethan demanded, "How do you know that?" "I read the quarterly reports." "They're in the shared drive," I said. Isabella said slowly, "The shared drive is password protected." I pointed out, "I'm an observer at board meetings. I assumed I'd have access to basic financial documents." My father cleared his throat. "Anita, the point remains. You're here as a courtesy because you're family." But Isabella is right. We're about to discuss matters that require actual investment capability. The Series C round needs anchor investors who can commit tens of millions of dollars. That's not your world. I asked, "What is my world, Dad?" He said, "You help people. You work with homeless shelters and food banks. It's admirable, but it's not this. Isabella built this company from nothing. She's going to be a multimillionaire before she's 35. I understood the unspoken message. I was the lesser sibling, the one who couldn't keep up. I closed my notepad and asked, "So, this Series C round, how much are you looking to raise?" Isabella sighed dramatically. "Between $80 million and $100 million. We have preliminary interest from top-tier venture capital firms. The lead investor will likely need to commit at least $30 million to $40 million. I said, "That's impressive. And you're confident you'll close the round?" "Absolutely," Isabella said. "We have a revolutionary product, a proven business model, and year-over-year revenue growth of 340%. Every VC in Silicon Valley is trying to get in on this." I nodded, feeling the familiar sting of being underestimated. "Can I ask one more question before the formal meeting starts?" "Make it quick," Isabella said, glancing at her Rolex, a gift from my father when the company hit its first million in revenue. "The series of funding that got you started 6 years ago, the $12 million that gave you the runway to build the initial product and hire your first 20 employees, where did that come from?" Isabella frowned. "That's a matter of public record. It was a consortium of angel investors and early-stage VCs." I asked, "Why?" "Just curious about the cap table," I said. "And the Series B funding 18 months ago, the additional $32 million that funded your expansion into the European market?" Ethan asked irritably, "What's your point?" I assured him, "No point. Just trying to understand the full financial picture." Isabella said impatiently, "The Series B was led by a major venture capital firm, with participation from existing investors and new institutional funds. Anita, this is basic company history. If you're going to sit in on board meetings, at least do the minimal research." I said, "I have. One more question. Were there any individual investors in the Series A and B rounds?" My father asked, "Why does that matter?" I said, "I'm just curious who believed in Novatech from the very beginning, before it was a big success." Isabella's expression softened slightly. "The very first money, the seed round before the Series A, came from a private investment group called Horizon Strategic Ventures. They committed $2 million when we were just a pitch deck and a dream. That seed money let us build the MVP that attracted the Series A investors." I repeated, "Horizon Strategic Ventures. They sound important." Isabella admitted, "They were crucial. They've been quiet partners ever since, very hands-off. They've participated in every funding round since then, including putting $50 million into the Series B. They're our largest single shareholder, though they've never asked for a board seat or tried to interfere with operations." I said, "That's serious money." Ethan said pointedly, "That's what serious investors do. They write big checks. Not everyone can play in that league." I agreed, "No, not everyone can." Just then, my phone started vibrating. I pulled it out and saw 3 urgent messages from my firm. I stood up and smoothed my simple black dress from a discount store. "Where are you going?" Isabella asked. "The meeting's about to start. I need to make a phone call." It'll just take a minute, I said. My father protested. Anita, we're about to begin. I said, I understand. This won't take long. I walked out of the conference room and found a quiet corner near the windows. The messages were from my managing partner, Lily, at Horizon Strategic Ventures. I'd founded the firm 10 years ago with the inheritance from my maternal grandmother, a woman who believed in my potential. The messages read, Lily, board meeting today? How's it going? Lily, quarterly reports show Novatech at target. Series C timeline? Lily, call me when you're free. Portfolio review scheduled for tomorrow. I smiled and typed back, meeting going exactly as expected. Need to execute option 7 from the contingency folder. Her reply came in seconds. Option 7? Are you sure? That's the nuclear option. I typed, I'm sure. Initiate withdrawal protocols. I want everything liquidated by end of business today. Lily, that's $94 million across all rounds. This will collapse their Series C negotiations. Are you absolutely certain? I looked back through the glass walls at Isabella, my father, and Ethan. They had no idea that the quiet sister in the back row was the reason their company existed. Absolutely certain, I replied. Full withdrawal. Sell all equity positions. Notify their CFO and board immediately per the shareholder agreement. And Lily, make sure the notification clearly identifies Horizon Strategic Ventures as my personal investment vehicle. No more anonymity. Understood. Executing now. This is going to be spectacular, Lily replied. That's the idea, I said, pocketing my phone and walking back into the conference room. Isabella was in the middle of her presentation when my phone started buzzing again. And again. And again. She paused mid-sentence. Anita, if you need to step out again. I silenced my phone. No, I'm good. But around the table, other board members began pulling out their phones. Their expressions shifted from attentive to confused to alarmed. The CFO, Mark, stood up abruptly. Excuse me, I need to. His phone was ringing, and the ringtone cut through Isabella's presentation. I'm sorry, I have to take this. He stepped away, speaking in urgent, hushed tones. Isabella's presentation faltered. Another board member's phone rang, then another. Ethan demanded, what the hell is going on? Mark came back into the room, his face ashen. Isabella, we need to talk. In private. Isabella said, we're in the middle of a board meeting. Mark repeated, now. Something in his voice made Isabella set down her presentation clicker and follow him out of the room. My father followed immediately, leaving Ethan and me and the increasingly agitated board members in uncomfortable silence. Through the glass walls, I could see Mark showing Isabella something on his tablet. Her expression went from annoyed to confused to horrified. My father's face turned red. They rushed back into the room. Isabella announced, her voice tight, everyone, we need to pause the meeting. There's been some kind of mistake with our cap table. Our largest investor, Horizon Strategic Ventures, their lawyers just sent notice that they're executing an immediate withdrawal of all invested capital. Ethan said, they can't do that. Investment contracts don't work that way. Mark said grimly, they can if they're structured as convertible notes with withdrawal provisions, which these were. Every single round, the seed, the Series A, the Series B, Horizon maintained withdrawal rights that we agreed to in exchange for favorable valuation terms. One of the board members asked, how much money are we talking about? Mark said, $94 million. $2 million seed, $12 million Series A, $30 million Series A follow-on, and $50 million Series B. With contractual interest, it's actually $96,300,000. The room erupted in shocked exclamations. Isabella held up her hand for silence. This has to be a mistake. Horizon has been a silent partner for 4 years. They've never interfered, never made demands. Why would they suddenly withdraw everything? Mark read from his tablet. According to the notice, the withdrawal is being executed at the discretion of the fund's founder and managing partner. It's all completely legal under the shareholder agreement we signed. My father demanded, "Who's the founder? Get them on the phone. This is insane. You don't just pull $94 million out of a functioning company without warning." Mark said slowly, "The notice identifies the founder, but there must be some mistake." Isabella demanded, "Who is it?" Mark looked at me. So did Isabella, my father, Ethan, and every board member in the room. Mark said, "The notice says Horizon Strategic Ventures was founded and is wholly owned by Anita. It says she's the sole decision maker for all investment activities and portfolio management." The silence that followed was absolute. Isabella finally said, "That's impossible. Anita works at a non-profit. She doesn't have that kind of money." Mark continued, pulling up documents on his tablet. According to the corporate filings, Horizon Strategic Ventures was established 10 years ago with initial capital of $25 million. It's since grown to a portfolio value of approximately $380 million across various technology investments. Novatech Solutions represents their largest single investment and their longest held position. My father was shaking his head. No, this is a mistake. Someone with the same name. Anita, tell them this is a mistake." I picked up my phone, which was still buzzing with notifications. "It's not a mistake, Dad." Isabella's voice came out as a whisper. "What?" I said calmly, "Horizon Strategic Ventures is my firm. I founded it 10 years ago with the inheritance Grandma left me. The trust fund that nobody in the family except the estate lawyers knew about. $25 million that she'd accumulated over her lifetime, left specifically to me because she said I was the only one who understood the value of quiet competence." I continued, 6 years ago, Isabella came to me, asking if I knew any investors who might be interested in her startup idea. I looked at her business plan, ran the numbers, and believed in the concept. So, I invested $2 million as seed funding through Horizon. I kept the ownership structure private because I knew if Isabella found out her little sister was her primary investor, she'd reject the money. Isabella said, "You're lying," but there was no conviction in her voice. I went on, "When the Series A came around, I personally recruited the other investors, made the introductions, and led the round with $12 million of my own capital. The VCs whose names are on the cap table came in because I convinced them to. Same with the Series B. I put in $50 million and brought in the lead investor. Every major strategic decision, every important hire, every expansion plan, I've been reviewing and approving them for 4 years through my board observer rights." Mark was scrolling through documents frantically. "She's right. The shareholder agreements all give Horizon final approval rights on major decisions. I thought it was a standard VC protective provision, but these are unusually strong. Horizon, Anita, could have blocked any decision we've made." Isabella asked, and for the first time, she sounded vulnerable, "If this is true, why stay silent? Why let us think I was the one who did it all?" I said, "Because I wanted to see if you could succeed on merit alone. I believed in your technology, Isabella. I still do. The product is revolutionary. But I wanted to know if you could build a company based on the quality of your work, not on family connections or pity investments." Isabella asked, "Could I?" I confirmed, "You could. You're genuinely brilliant at product development and strategy. Novatech succeeds because you're talented, not because of me. But here's the problem. You're terrible at recognizing the contributions of people you've decided aren't worthy of your respect." My father found his voice. "Anita, sweetheart, if there's been some miscommunication." I said, "There's been no miscommunication. For 4 years, I've sat in these meetings and listened to you all explain why I couldn't understand basic business concepts. You've patronized me, dismissed me, and treated my questions like adorable attempts at participation. Today, Isabella told me this meeting was for serious investors only. Ethan asked if I even knew what a Series C funding round was. You, Dad, said I couldn't conceptualize numbers in the millions. Ethan started, we didn't mean. I interrupted, you meant exactly what you said. And that's fine. People reveal who they are when they think there are no consequences. But here's the thing about being a silent partner. You get to stay silent until you choose not to. Isabella's phone rang. She answered it, listened for a moment, then said, yes, I understand. Thank you for letting me know. She hung up and looked at me. That was Sequoia. They're withdrawing their interest in the Series C. Apparently, word has already spread that our primary investor is pulling out. They're concerned about company stability.